welcome back to NFL Talking Points. I'm your host, Joseph Gardner. With us as a pretty consistent guest at this point, Matthew Arscott from the Matthew Arscott Sports Show. Matthew, so good to have you back.
Good to be back, and good to be talking sports, and especially football, with my favorite cheesehead out there. Joseph, thanks for having me on.
Awesome. Thank you, Matthew. This is going to be our kind of just everything podcast. I am in the process of moving. Matthew's in the process of helping family move. There's just a lot going on for both of us right now. So we're going to try to get through the Week 7 recap, go over our power rankings, and try to give you at least an idea of what you can look forward to in Week 8. We're going to start with Thursday Night Football in Week 7. This feels like it was a couple weeks ago at this point. This was between the Steelers and Bengals. Ended up being a crazy game. Bengals come on top 33-31. Matthew, what did you see in this Thursday night showdown?
This was a very fun Thursday night showdown. I'll say that Joe Flacco is backo, and he was so good. 31 for 47 passing, 342 yards, 3 tuds, no interceptions. If I had been confused about certain teams in the past, the Bengals now are on my confusion top 3 radar. I mean, I maybe it was just a Jake Browning thing. Maybe it's not that complicated. Jamar Chase looked amazing in this game. 16 catches, which is a team record for 161 yards, 1 tud. Joe, who? I think the Bengals look good in this one. I think that they can continue to get better. Meanwhile, Steelers are now a question mark for me, where they previously sat atop the division. I think that they look a little rough around the edges, and it will be interesting to see what's to come from them.
And I'm sure we'll get to the Steelers later with them playing the Packers this coming week. Considering that I have a massive block of cheese on my head, I'm sure that we'll get to that game later.
No doubt.
Moving on, we've got the Rams and Jaguars. I expected this to be close. It was not even close. 35-7. A lot of that because of failed fourth downs in Rams territory from the Jaguars. Over and over, Jags got it down into field goal range, went for it, didn't get it, and turned over on downs. More or less, I liked the decisions because at some point you've got to do something to beat a powerful Rams team, but in the end, you got to also call the plays and execute those plays to do that, and the Jaguars didn't do that. Saints and Bears, this one, old revenge game for the Bears defensive coordinator, Dennis Allen. He gets a game ball at the end of the game. Bears are on a winning streak here. What did you see in this game, Matthew?
Yeah, you know what? The Bears raced out to a 20-0 lead there in the second quarter. So as much as we have a defensive-minded coach in there, I really like how the Bears' offense has been rolling. Caleb Williams is looking a little bit more clean. He's working his way through his provisions. He's working his way through his movements. He looks really good. Saints, of course, did have a little bit of that comeback there in the second half, but they just cannot figure it out. They're 1-6 now. The Saints, their struggles persist. The inability to recover momentum after being in the hole early came back to bite them in the butt. And the Bears looking pretty good. We'll see how they match up this week.
Love it. Browns versus the Dolphins. A lot of people wanted this game to be taken away by a hurricane. And it ended up being more fun and more interesting than I thought it would be. Browns end up winning 31-6. Amazing defensive performance, as well as a big pickup from the offense from this Browns team. A lot to look forward to. However, they did go against the Dolphins, so I think that just decides that, okay, well, we'll put the Dolphins lower on our power rankings probably this week.
But Brown's defense looking good.
And it's looked good all year. I mean, it's they've gone against really good teams in the Packers and Lions, and they've held up pretty well against pretty much everyone. Next, we've got the Raiders and Chiefs. Rashee Rice returning from his suspension. This is his first game in the 2025 season. Chiefs look like the old Chiefs, the Super Bowl winning powerhouse offense, Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid Chiefs. And the Raiders looked like one of the worst teams to ever exist. What did you see in this blowout, Matthew?
Yeah, should we be surprised about this Chiefs comeback? I mean, let's just talk about and mention for a minute that earlier this season we were talking about the Chiefs' struggles, but I think that we unanimously decided and agreed that when Rashee Rice, when these other receivers and these weapons come back here later in the year from their injuries, from their suspensions, the Chiefs are going to be just fine, and they've been showing that. Patrick Mahomes, 26 for 35, 286 yards, 3 tuds. And it was awesome. Great performance from him. Rashee Rice, of course, coming back from suspension, as we mentioned, 7 catches, 42 yards, 2 tuds. Looked amazing. Offense was absolutely crushed. My fantasy football team, which has been led the last few weeks by Ashton Genty, absolutely crushed. It was not a solid performance. Under 100 total yards, no third down conversions at all for the men in black there from Las Vegas. Big statement win from Kansas City. Offense and defense looking sharp, but their defense, especially in this blinking, awesome.
Jamar Chase had more targets than Geno Smith had throws this week.
Wait, say that one more time.
Jamar Chase was targeted in his Bengals game more than Geno Smith threw the ball.
That's insane. That is
All
crazy. That is. It's offense down there in Las Vegas looking like they're struggling.
It's not good, and it doesn't look like it's going to get much better. No. Next, we've got the Eagles and the Vikings. Vikings outplayed the Eagles if you look at post-game win expectancy, and yet Eagles come out on top 28-22. This one was a pretty close game, and based off of how I feel like this Vikings team is playing, it shouldn't have been. What did you see in this game? Maybe just something really small, short.
Yep, just QB Jalen Hurts is kind of coming into his own, figuring it out. You can actually put the ball in the air, he has figured out this season, and throw it more than 5 yards down the field. 326 and 3 tuds in that 28-22 win looked really good.
Yep, throwing it to A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith usually works out pretty well.
Awesome touchdown, by the way, that Devontae Smith one. Just got to say that.
Love it. Panthers at Jets. No one wanted to see this, but the Panthers win in a similar way that pretty much everyone has beat the Jets this year, 13-6. No turnovers from the Jets, and the opposing offense doing the bare minimum to be able to beat what is a moribund Jets offense. Garrett Wilson was out for this game with injury. This Jets team just doesn't look good. Panthers are on the rise. 4-game win streak here for the Panthers. They're on a roll. So
Panthers have just as many wins as the Bills.
Yeah, and the Panthers would be in the playoffs if the Seahawks had lost.
Wow.
That's how close the Panthers are to being actually a decent team.
Carolina fans should be optimistic. I do have to mention very quickly, Jets failed to score a touchdown for the second consecutive week. They also haven't scored a touchdown in the first half since week 1. Jets fans, look away.
That's not good. And I'm coming around on your Aaron Glenn should probably be on the hot seat.
Man.
That you were kind of talking about weeks ago. It just doesn't seem to be improving whatsoever. It could be a one and done after what looked like the exact perfect coaching hire. So,
yep.
Moving on, we'll go to the Patriots and the Titans. This game looked close at the beginning of the game, first quarter. Titans were leading, I think, at one point, but ended up being a steamroller from the Patriots, 31-13. You can't stop Drake May. You can't stop this offense. And while Cam Ward showed his best offensive performance so far this year, he still had one of the more hilarious plays of the week where he's dropping back to pass and literally just the ball slips out of his hand as he tries to throw it, drops on the 2-yard line, and the defender picks it up and runs it in for one of the shortest defensive touchdowns ever. We call that a Will Levis around here. Anything exciting about this Patriots-Titans team, or should we move on?
You know what? The only thing exciting about the Patriots team is the fact that it feels like the 2000 Patriots and Colts back on top of the AFC.
Ooh, that's true. That's exactly right. There was I saw a thing where you've got the Colts, the Steelers, the Patriots, and the Broncos, and it's all these old teams that are now being led by these young QBs, except for Aaron Rodgers, who's like 80 at this point. So
pretty close.
All right. Next game, probably the game of the week, Giants and Broncos. The Giants had a 99.8% chance of winning this game at one point. The Broncos were scoreless through the first 3 quarters. And you say, wait a minute, but they scored 33 points. That's correct. All 33 points came in just the fourth quarter and only got a win based off of a couple missed extra points and a late game interception by Jackson Dart to give the Broncos a chance. Matthew, this game was insane. What did you see from it?
Well, I know that there was a Giants fan somewhere out there that was taking a Sunday afternoon nap after the end of the third quarter that woke up shocked. I'll tell you what, comeback of the year, this is the biggest flop that I have seen since the Vikings erased a 33-point deficit to the Colts back in 22. Do you remember that one?
Oh, yeah. I'm sure you remember it.
Oh, I remember. That was not a fun day for me. Giants, of course, having that 19-0 lead, like you said, and losing on the last-second 39-yard field goal from Will Lutz. Lots of games this season decided by a last-second field goal. Really crazy. I have to say that this really throws a wrench into the Dart Scattaboo upbringing that we've seen the last few weeks. Meanwhile, Denver shows resiliency that is extremely important to have, especially when you make the playoffs. This could be something that comes back to help Denver in the postseason.
And it'll help them with seeding, too. I mean, it's the AFC is a lot less competitive at this point than the NFC, but you're in a division with the Chiefs, who are on the rise, the Chargers, who, if they get healthy, are a powerhouse. I mean, every win you got to have to come back and get the win by 1 point. That's exactly what you need for later in the season. So next, we've got your Colts at the Chargers, the number 1 seeded Colts, the only team with 1 loss.
Well, there's 2 teams with 1 loss, and
technically, I guess the Packers have a loss.
That's right, but only team that has 6 wins and 1 loss. Yes.
Yep. So yeah, Colts come out of there 38-24. Chargers team, there's no run game. Offensive tackles still aren't back. There's just not much that this Chargers team is doing well at this point, besides Justin Herbert, who is not playing well in his own right. Had another 2 interceptions this week. And this Colts offense is on a roll. It's a generational offense. They've scored
crazy
and scored and scored some more. What are you seeing from this game?
Yeah, you know what? Indiana Jones is cracking his whip, and if it wasn't for a young man by the name of Adonai Mitchell, the Colts would be 7-0 right now. Indianapolis offense, number 1 in the league right now. It's crazy. I think they're putting up 32 points a game. They are trailed very closely by a Dallas Cowboys team who has been very good offensively this year. But the difference is the Cowboys don't have a defense like the Colts do. This is a very good Chargers team. I will still say very good despite all of their injuries that they are facing. They still have offensive weapons, and they still have Justin Herbert, and the Colts came in and shut them down. 24 points is still, pretty good, but again, that number 1 offense, Colts are making noise Chargers are needing to regroup. I think, what's that, 3 straight that they've dropped, or they've at least lost 3 of their last 4, I think is what it is.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's what we're looking at.
Yeah, and in a division as close as and tight as that is, they are on a 4-game losing streak. They won their first games all against each of their divisional opponents, and the Chiefs, Raiders, and Broncos. And since then, they've gone 0-4. And that's hopefully they can get healthy, start picking that up, because that is a fun team to watch when they're at full strength. Next, we've got the Packers and Cardinals. A lot of Packers fans were upset with this win, thought that we should have gone in there and beat them a lot harder than we did. Ended up being 27-23. This was after a 4th down decision that was going to be a field goal. Ended up bringing it back to send the offense back on the field for a 4th and 2. That is converted. Take it down the field, score a touchdown to go up by 4 with the extra point, and then we're able to hold the Cardinals on defense to end the game. Almost the exact same scenario that the Colts had just last week playing this Cardinals team. You and I were talking before that we don't know. Maybe this is kind of indicative of who this Cardinals team is. Maybe it also just is more to help Packers fans see that if you think this Colts team is good, which I do, it was almost the exact same game against the Cardinals team, and it felt like the Colts, coming from a Packers fan who is terminally on Packers Twitter, where all the Packers fans are saying this was a terrible win, we didn't look good. Look at the Colts team, who everyone thinks is playing really well, almost the exact same game. That said, from your perspective, what do you see in this Cardinals team that just seems to lose them games over and over? They've lost all of their games by a combined 13 points.
Yeah, lack of discipline and being unable to close out late in games. I think that this is a team that I remember playing high school football back in the day. We would run through our conditioning drills, and then coach would have us run an extra drill or two, just thrown in randomly, right? And everyone would always be like, oh, like, why are we doing this extra drill? And he would teach us that it was so that we could sustain ourselves into the 4th quarter. I think that the Cardinals need to be running similar drills. They're not being able to keep their breath and their legs under them. This is a team that we've seen that has faltered throughout the season. Late in the 4th, 13 points combined for all of their losses is crazy. That's just too close. I think they also need to figure out the quarterback position, but we'll save that talk for another time.
Absolutely. Next, we've got the Commanders-Cowboys. Jaden Daniels goes out with in this game, which sucked because I had a 4-leg parlay on him, and I nailed everything.
It fell apart. You nailed it, but he just.
And he got injured part of the way through the second half. That said, I don't think Jaden Daniels is getting them out of this game. Dak Prescott was lights out again. CeeDee Lamb returning for this game. George Pickens still playing at a wide receiver 1 level. What did you see in this Cowboys offense to put up 44 points?
You know what? This is a Cowboys offense, like I said, that's number 2 in the league in points per game, but this was probably their best offensive outing this season. No offense to the other games that we've seen against Philly and Green Bay and et cetera. This Commanders team could not contain Dallas's pace, their big playmaking ability. Cowboys are only going to get better. They have all of their weapons back moving forward. They have now, Pickens and CeeDee Lamb. They've got the run game going. Offensive confidence grows. I think for Washington, we're starting to hit a preemptive panic button. Looking a little shaky over there in the I don't want to say Bay Area, the Chesapeake Bay Area.
So interesting thing on this game. If you look at post-game win expectancy, Commanders, Giants, Cowboys back to back to back, all at 3-4. Eagles 2-5. According to post-game win expectancy, the Eagles should be behind a game of the rest of the division, which kind of sounds insane. But if you look at the underlying statistics, all this division could get pretty spicy down the line, so watch out for that. Going on to Sunday Night Football, this was this was not a super exciting, fun game to watch, but it does have some pretty big implications playoff-wise. Falcons, 49ers, Falcons lose 10-20 against a completely beat-up 49ers team. It feels like this Falcons team, I do not know what to make of them. They have
most
a
confusing
ton of
team
pieces.
in the league.
They have so many pieces on offense and defense. It feels like they could go up against the toughest opponents and win, and it also feels like they could lose against the Jets next week somehow.
Yeah.
Like, it's the craziest team.
My only note on this is that the Falcons had the statistical metrics of this game, time of possession, yards per play, but it didn't translate to the scoreboard, and why they can't figure it out. I personally am not a huge Michael Penix fan. I think that Penix has shown some good moments, more than some other quarterbacks, and is definitely not the worst quarterback in the league, but something's missing here, and it's still, every time that we talk about the Falcons, I think of a 30-0 loss to the Carolina Panthers this year, which just absolutely blows me away.
That's fair. To me, this falls more on Zach Robinson, the offensive coordinator. I think that there's just so many things that they're doing that are predictable to defenses, and especially on that 4th and 1 play that was defended. You don't even have Bijan Robinson to not even have your best playmaker on the field. Just doesn't make any sense to me. I think there just needs to be better play calling. Although I am with you, Penix has not played up to the level that he needs to give this team a chance. All right, next we've got the 2 Monday Night Football games. One of these was probably more important than the other. Bucs Lions. Bucs didn't look right in this game. Ended up losing 9-24. Lots of miscues. Mike Evans goes down with what looks like a collarbone injury. He's going to be out for pretty much the season, which ends his 11-season streak of getting 1,000 yards every year for 11 seasons. He was tied with Jerry Rice, and that will be – he won't have a chance to beat that, which sucks so bad. That said, this Lions offense back to rolling again. To me, I can't look past the Lions still losing last week so badly to the Chiefs. And I'm looking at this Bucs team thinking, well, if you look at their schedule, they have played a few patty cakes here, and they've won. All of their wins have come incredibly close. I don't know what else to take out of this game. What did you take out of it, Matthew?
Yeah, you know what? 2 top NFC teams facing off against each other. And yes, that Chiefs game was rough, but again, I think the Chiefs are back to full strength. I'm just going to say that right now. Jahmyr Gibbs, 136 yards, 2 tuds, 82 receiving yards. Absolutely monster of a game. I think that the Detroit Lions rise to the top. There is a certain game on Thanksgiving Day at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. That's the first game of the Thanksgiving slate. They take on a Green Bay Packers team. I think that is one of the new games of the year to watch out for. Taking place on Thanksgiving, we will feast. Lions looking pretty good. I have them at the top of my power rankings for that reason. I know that you have them down at 4, which puts them right at 2, which is a pretty good place. I think that that's about where they belong now. Bucs, though, they're going to face some injuries. They're going to have a tough slate ahead of them. The thing that's going to save them is the fact that they're in the NFC South.
Love it. Next, we've got the Texans Seahawks. This game was a game of 2 teams that just neither one seemed to really want to win. They were like, I think that you should win it. And the other team's like, I don't really want to win it. You can go ahead. And in the end, the Texans offense is just terrible. And
so bad.
And that's pretty much all I could say about this game. Sam Darnold didn't look good, but you have some bad games, and he had moments where he did look good still. It just felt like a slugfest. This game went on forever. So, anything else you want to talk about this game?
I have stats for everything, but I'll just say Houston, very, very good defense, very, very bad offense. Seattle wins this one because of consistency on both sides of the ball.
Love it. Okay, next we're going to just quickly go over our power rankings. Like I said, I was moving all of last week, so I never even got a chance to do a power rankings show. So we're just going to kind of start fresh, look at what we've got, and I'm going to pull this up here. On the right, you've got Matthew's rankings. He was kind enough to put the entire team name and the record. I just was kind of lazy with how I did it. But and in the middle here, you've got the numbers here, just to let you know the combined ranking between the two of us. You can see multiple. There's between 4 and 7. We've got 4 teams all at the same rank. The tiebreaker was just keeping teams who were winning 2 weeks ago at the same spot. So if the Bucs were higher than the Chiefs 2 weeks ago, we're going to keep them higher than the Chiefs this week because they're tied. So really quickly going into this first tier, the Indianapolis Colts, the 6-1 Matthew Arscott Indianapolis Colts at number 1.
Love
and
it.
That matches the playoff seeding. The Colts currently lead the AFC with the 1 seed, and it doesn't seem like they're anytime soon going to give that up.
At least
next,
not this
you've got
week.
the Lions. Yeah. Next, you've got the Lions at 2, Rams at 3, Bucks at 4, Packers at 5, Seahawks at 6, Chiefs coming up back up into our first tier at 7, and the Philadelphia Eagles down at 8. The thing that shocked me on this one, I had the Chiefs at 3. You've still got the Chiefs down at 8. I think this Chiefs team is for real. I've got to put them above the Lions. I don't have the Lions in until 4. You've got them as your number 1 team. I think that's the biggest difference for you and I in this first quadrant. What do you see in this Chiefs team that's keeping them at 8? And what do you see in this Lions team to put them all the way up at 1? I guess you kind of talked about that one a little bit already.
Sure. I talked about the Lions already. The Chiefs, like I said, they are for real. They will continue to move up in my power rankings. The only reason that they're still down is just because I have seen better performance out of everybody above them, bar maybe the Philadelphia Eagles. Philadelphia Eagles just find ways to win. It's the only reason they stay up there. I just felt wrong putting a 4-3 Chiefs team too far above other teams, even though I think that we will see them top 5 here really soon. A lot of injuries is what contributed to the first half of their season. Just didn't feel right yet putting them too far up on my list. I still need to maybe see a little bit more consistency from them. Once I have that another week or two, if they absolutely defensively shut down and opponents and show out, Chiefs, I have no problem putting in even my top 4.
And that's fair enough. We've got a Chiefs team coming up on Monday Night Football this week that we'll get to here in a minute. I think that'll be a good test against the Commanders, especially, obviously Jaden Daniels doesn't look like he's going to be in that game, so we'll just see what they look like there. Second quadrant, we've got the Broncos at 9, we've got the Bills at 10, Patriots at 11, 49ers at 12, Steelers at 13, Chargers 14, Jags dropping down to 15, and the Chicago Bears slowly on the rise up to 16. For me, this tier feels pretty solid to me. You and I had pretty much all of the same teams, just one or two teams apart between us on these ones. Anything stand out to you there?
No, I think that this list, like you said, extremely consistent. Buffalo does not belong in this tier on paper. Buffalo needs to figure it out. They need to get back up into tier number 1. But everybody else, I think, so far this season has played into this tier. Buffalo's been playing into this tier, I should clarify that. But they're the only team that should not be here. I think that I would like to see them switch with either the Bucs or the Eagles here in the next few weeks, just based on gameplay.
I love that. Next here we've got the Commanders at 17, Falcons at 18, Panthers at 19, Vikings at 20, Cowboys at 21, Texans back down to 22, Ravens at 23, and Giants at 24. Texans were one of our highest risers 2 weeks ago, coming up from 24 to 18. Now they're back down to 22 after they beat the Ravens team and jumped super high. They've fallen back down to about where they were before. The couple teams that I find interesting in this one, we've got the Panthers coming all the way up to 19. And we've got the Cowboys just kind of lingering at 21, even with multiple. I mean, it feels like their offense is a top 5 offense, and yet this defense is just that bad.
Yeah. You know what? I have to say, 3 NFC South teams back to back to back here in this team. That just goes to show how mid the NFC South is. I wouldn't even say bad. Or excuse me. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. 2 NFC South teams back to back. I was getting the Commanders confused in there.
We've got 3 NFC East teams.
Yes, yeah, and I mean that goes to show their division. And then you have, of course, the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, they're going to kind of be back in a position like the Chiefs. They have guys coming back from injury. Let's see how they respond. But man, tough season for them. They are on the brink of having their season be called quits.
Yep. All right. Next, we've got the Cardinals at 25, Bengals at 26, Browns at 27, Saints at 28. 29, we've got the Raiders, Dolphins down to 30, Titans at 31, and the still winless New York Jets at 32. The only exciting team to me in this area here, you could say the Cardinals, who have lost all of their games by a combined 13 points. And I think the Browns and the Bengals both had pretty big wins last week and could be on the up and up. If I could see anything happening, I could see all 3 of those teams moving out, and I could see the Texans coming down. I could see the Vikings coming down. I could see the Falcons coming down if they keep playing the way that they've played in their poor games. That said, what do you see in this final tier that even gets you excited about any of these teams?
Yeah, I love what you just were saying there with those top 3 teams moving up into the next tier. I think there's a lot of teams in limbo in that second to last tier that could bump down, like you said. But here on this bottom tier, I also want to focus on these bottom 5 teams, some of the worst teams I've seen in a long time. That New York Jets team, man, it's so hard to watch. So bad. Feel bad for Jets fans. I couldn't even imagine. So prayers out to you guys.
Our bottom 5 teams have a combined 5 wins.
Yeah, crazy.
And
we're
this is going to be a race to the finish for the number 1 overall pick.
Jeez. Yeah, that is. And it's not even going to be Arch Manning anymore. So I mean, what's the point?
And it's not like Arch Manning has looked that like the best quarterback anyway. So
exactly, that's what I'm saying. It's not going to be him. So I mean, what are you guys doing, tanking right now? I don't know.
Yeah, you're a season early.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Really quick, going over our playoff predictions based off of our rankings. We've got the Lions, Rams, Bucks, and Eagles winning their division in the NFC, with the Packers, Seahawks, and 49ers as the 5, 6, 7 wild card. In the AFC, we've got the Colts, Chiefs, Steelers, and Bills. Somehow the Steelers keep the 3 seed because their division is the worst, one of the worst in football. Wild cards, Broncos, Patriots, Chargers. Broncos are ahead of the Steelers and the Bills, but take the 5 seed because they have the Chiefs in their division. And then lastly, our post-game win expectancy pretty much follows everything that we're looking at. For the most part, we're pretty close on everything. Few things that were interesting to me. Bills, 3-3 in post-game win expectancy. Yep. Eagles, 2-5 below the Commanders, Giants, and Cowboys, all at 3-4. And the Chiefs at 5-2, looking a lot better than their record suggests. Same with the Bears at 4-2. The those are the main things that stuck out to me in this list here.
All right, yep. I think that this list kind of shows the true depth of teams. I think that the thing that stands out to me the most on this entire list is the fact that the Patriots deserve to be 5-2. That is quite the jump from past seasons. And Bill Belichick, who? Love it.
Yeah, Patriots a top-tier team, according to post-game win expectancy. I didn't even see that. Love that you pointed that out. Alrighty, we are going on 35 minutes. I feel like we've got a pretty good time going. Let's see if we can get through these games for Week 8. Give our listeners something to talk about, something that they would love to hear, love to listen to. Starting with the Thursday night football game between the Vikings and Chargers. This is what I would call a wounded animal game. Both of these teams need a win if they want to try to bounce back and try to keep themselves in the playoff race. The Chargers, I think, are in a more dire spot because of injuries, but the Vikings, I would say, need the win more because playoff implications just won't allow you to lose too many more games in this competitive NFC. We were just talking about the playoff picture. With the playoffs, the Chargers and the Steelers make the AFC playoffs. And that you in wild card spots, you've got teams like the Packers and Seahawks in the NFC. So for me, I think I'm going to take this Vikings team Thursday night. I think their defense is playing well. They outplayed the Eagles, and I just don't think this Chargers team have enough healthy pieces to get it done. The only way that they do is if Justin Herbert plays like he did the first 3 weeks and just balls out. What do you say, Matthew?
I think that Justin Herbert plays like he did last week with 420 yards and 3 tuds. Like I said, Chargers' only real issue is the fact that they are just struggling on an injury. And they played the Colts last week. You have to remember they still put up 24 points against a good Colts defense. By the way, burn all of the yellow uniforms that they ever have. Holy crap. Get rid of those. Those are an eyesore. Vikings are 8-7 all time versus the Bolts, but I disagree with you. I think they make it 8-8, tie it all up at 500 between these two teams. My pick is the Chargers, 24-20.
I don't have a score for this one, so let me think about it. I'm going to go...
Spread is 3.5. Chargers favored at home.
I'm going to go Vikings 24, Chargers 21.
Love it.
All right, next we got the Bears taking on Baltimore. John Harbaugh is saying that Lamar should play this week, although he hasn't practiced yet. If Lamar plays this week, and that's what we're going to go with, because I don't really think this game is worth talking about if Lamar doesn't play.
I agree.
If Lamar plays this week, this could be a challenge. This will be obviously more of a challenge to the Bears team. I still kind of like this Bears team to get a win here. The Ravens defense is absolute trash. It is a garbage boat floating down a lazy river. And this Bears team is on a rise. And in contrast, especially this Bears defense has been phenomenal. They lead the league in the turnover battle. As much as I would love to cheer for Lamar Jackson, and as much as I would love the Bears to be humbled and get a loss here in my own division, I have to pick the Bears 28-21.
Love it. I'll tell you what, we're off to a hot start. I think this is a good show, and the reason why is because we're disagreeing for one of the first weeks ever on a lot of things. This Bears offense that's been so good has been based on their rushing attack and their kicker, Jake Moody. I think that the Ravens have a good shot at actually showing up on defense this week, focusing on those two items. Of course, you can't really focus on a kicker, but just keep them out of the red zone. If Lamar is back, Ravens offense has been averaging 24 per game without him, 32 per game with him, which would put them tied at top of the league. or
What
in
a
first
stat.
place. Isn't that crazy? So, yeah, go tell your friends Lamar with versus without. Chicago, a 4-3 lead over Baltimore all time, including an OT win in 17. I like Baltimore in this one by a good amount. They cover their 6.5 point spread, which is currently the Vegas spread, 6.5 points. I like Baltimore 30-21.
I have the spread opposite, which is kind of nuts, but
Yeah, it is crazy. But hey, that just shows that this could be a game worth watching if Lamar is back.
absolutely. Next, you've got the Giants and Philadelphia, the rematch. The Giants handed the Eagles their second loss in embarrassing fashion just a couple weeks ago. Giants coming off of a tough loss to the Broncos, and Eagles coming off of a tough win to the Vikings. What do you see in this game? Do you think the Giants can pull it off again, or do you think this Eagles team is starting to gain stride?
Love that you led with that question here. We have Philadelphia 7.5 point favorites back at home, Lincoln Financial Field. I can't pick against them twice with a Giants team, even if they have Dart and Scattaboo and the yards that Dart's been putting up, the stats. I like Eagles 26-17 in this one to cover.
I'm actually on the same page with you on this one. I did pick the Eagles last time, even though I wanted to pick the Giants. That said, I'm going to pick the Eagles again. I just don't think that the Giants are going to be able to get the jump on them again, and I think this offense is just starting to get rolling. We're going to go 24-17. Next, we've got Miami going to Atlanta to face the Falcons. Miami 1-6, Falcons 3-3. This Falcons team, like we were kind of been saying, could lose this game if they play a bad game, and yet it feels like this should be a blowout. For me, I'm gonna take Atlanta for sure, but I think I like it to stay close and be a somewhat high-scoring game. I'm going to take Atlanta 31, Miami 28.
Love it. Good pick. Atlanta's 7.5 point favorites. Both teams coming off of tough offensive outings last week. But the Falcons are the number one team in the league in terms of allowing teams into the red zone. Defensively, they are stout. That's going up against a very poor Miami offense. Mike McDaniel is still there. Tua Tagovailoa is still under center. One of those things has to change if they want to have any sort of process moving forward. I do like Atlanta in this one, despite them being one of the weirdest teams. If they lose this one, they will be the weirdest team of my lifetime. I will just say that right now. I like Atlanta 30-20, winning by 10.
Love it. Okay, Baltimore. Wow, not Buffalo. Traveling to Carolina. Both of these teams with 4 wins, believe it or not. The 4-2 Bills take on the 4-3 Panthers. This game, I think, could be somewhat dangerous for this Bills team. Even the Bills are coming off of a bye, but the one thing that they have, that I think their biggest weakness is their run defense, and this Panthers' biggest offensive strength is their run offense.
On offense, yep.
I think that this could be a dangerous game. That said, I am going to pick Buffalo to get back up on the horse. I trust Josh Allen. I trust this offensive coaching staff coming off of a bye to be able to do enough to get themselves a win. I think that if you look at the records, I think this Bills team should be 5-2, and this Panthers team should be 4-4. That said, I'm going to take Buffalo 28-24.
Love it. Bryce Young is hurt. High ankle sprain. He's going to be out this week. Andy Dalton starts, our favorite quarterback redhead in the league. I just think, as much as I don't trust Bryce Young already, I don't think that Andy Dalton is much better. And so no offense to them, I'm going to keep this simple. My pick is 31-17 Bills roll. Although I do like what you said, and I do want to just reiterate, really poor run defense on the Bills side versus a good Chuba Hubbard and Nico Dowdle on the Panthers.
Absolutely. Next, you've got the New York Jets game. Do we have to talk about the Jets? I guess we'll talk about them momentarily. Taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. This Bengals team with Joe Flacco is starting to look like a powerhouse. Is there any way that this Jets team can get a win here?
I think maybe. I'm just going to say maybe, and I'll say why maybe. Because they had their best defensive performance last week by holding the Panthers to only 13 points. Ironically enough, they still lost. You got to score touchdowns, man. Which is the most obvious thing in the world to say. Like, oh, if you score more touchdowns than the other team, you're going to win the game. Well, yeah, no crap, of course. But that being said, they have a chance. I'm not going to pick them. I think the Jets fall to 0-8. I like Bengals, Cincinnati in this one, 27-17. They've been hot.
And looking at the Jets' upcoming schedule, it does not look like it's going to get any easier for them. After this Bengals team, they face a tough Browns defense. After that, you've got the Patriots and the Ravens. I mean, it's if you don't get a win here, you're looking at, probably something like 0-12 by the time you maybe get your first one against maybe the Dolphins.
We could pretty much go ahead and say Jets have been eliminated from playoff contention at this point in time.
Yeah, we're gonna fork the Jets. They're out. I had bet some good money on the Jets not making the playoffs. I wouldn't actually do that. I don't bet good money. I bet bad money. Next, we've got San Francisco and Houston. San Francisco super beat up. Fred Warner's out. Nick Bosa's out. Brock Purdy doesn't look like he's going to play still. George Kittle just came back, and they've still got Christian McCaffrey there. Facing off against this Houston team that awesome defense, terrible offense. For me, this seems like an easy San Francisco win, but what does Houston have to do to get a win out of this week?
You know what's interesting? Have you seen the spread on this one?
No.
Houston is favored by 1.5 going into this one.
Oh, what?
Isn't that crazy? I'll tell you kind of why.
That's nuts.
Houston, of course, number one scoring defense in the league, 14 points per game. They're also holding QBs to their lowest rate in the league. They're number one in that. You have a Mac Jones quarterback who has been struggling and will probably have one more week before Brock Purdy is back to 100%. That being said, this Niners defense holding stout despite major injuries. You could probably thank Robert Saleh for that one. This is only the sixth time these two teams have met, which is tied for the least game played in NFL history. The only other two teams that have only met 6 times, Houston and Seattle. So there's a talking point for you. That being said, yeah, I don't like the line either. Give me the 49ers 2016.
I love that. I'm going to take the Niners 2013. And that
love it.
I like both of those. So we're going to go on to
Houston
Cleveland,
offense too poor.
Kelly into New England. Yep, absolutely. Cleveland going into New England to take on the Patriots. Browns team coming off of a 31-point win against the Dolphins. Cleveland put up 31 points on offense this last week. New England, in their own right, put up 31 points as well. So, so I wanted to make sure I got that right. I'm like, wait a minute, that's correct. Yep. So, yeah, Browns and Patriots both coming off of 34 points or 31 points on offense. That said, I am taking New England here. Jake Bay is playing out of his mind, and this defense is playing really well as well. I'm going to take New England 34-20. That's it. Anything you got on this one?
Browns before this. Yeah, Browns 11 straight games without scoring more than 17 points before last week. Of course, they roll last week. Browns defense is only allowing more than 24 points in 2 of their 6 games. Dylan Gabriel is settling in. Their defense is solid. This is my biggest upset call this week. I actually like Cleveland 23-20 against the Patriots in this one.
Ooh, spicy. Love it. All right. Next, we've got Tampa Bay taking on New Orleans. This is my upset game. Bucks losing Mike Evans. Haven't quite looked right all season long. The Saints team is a better team than I think people give them credit for. I know that they're one of our bottom 5 teams. I think that this could be a wacky divisional game. I'm going to actually take the Saints 21-20.
Love it. Bucks have only lost 2 games to the Eagles and the Lions, which makes me think, could they be a better team than I think? I'm still going to go with, I don't know. The Saints have only won 1 game, and that's been against the Giants. I know the Bucks have a lot of injuries. I think this is a trap game for people who think that the Bucks are just going to go in and roll. That being said, Tampa Bay's 4.5-point favorites. I like them to win 23-13. Give me 10 points.
Ooh, big one. All right, love it. Next, this game is very intriguing to me. You've got Dallas going into Denver, Cowboys at Broncos, Broncos at 5-2, Cowboys at 3-1. This Cowboys offense has yet to be stopped. Could this Denver defense be the one to do it? And if they can't, can Bo Nix lead this offense to enough points to keep up?
I'm going to say the bottom line in this one is let's compare defenses. Broncos have been really solid until the Giants game last week. Dallas has been pretty bad all year. They're 30th in points per game and 31st in rate allowed on QBR. This is the highest total over-under matchup for this week because the high offense and the poor defense from at least one side, maybe even both sides. Denver leads the series 9-5, including winning 7 in a row. Give me another one. Denver wins 30-24 to cover and the over to hit.
I love the cover and over. I can't pick the cover. I am going to pick the over. I'm going to go 34-31 Broncos.
Love it.
Next, we've got the most uninteresting game of the week. The Colts taking on the Titans. This is the best team in the league facing the worst team in the league, maybe outside of the Jets. It feels like this is going to be an absolute blowout. I do like Cam Ward to put up one of his best offensive games in this game so far this year. It's not going to be enough against this explosive Colts offense. I'm taking the Colts 35, Titans 24.
Love it. I'll keep this really simple. Colts are on a 5-game win streak against the Titans. Make it 6. Colts have a 14.5-point spread. It's the largest this week amongst the slate of Week 8 games. But give me the Colts to cover even that. Colts continue to roll as the number 1 offense in the league. They up their points per game even more. Give me Colts 42 to Titans 20.
I do like a high point total on this. I do like Tennessee to cover, though. So
love it.
All right,
love it.
We're going to go to Monday Night Football before Sunday Night Football. We're going to go Chiefs Commanders. Commanders at 3-4. Chiefs at 4-3. To me, this is easy. This looks like It feels like this Chiefs team should be 5-3. It feels like this Commanders team should be 3-5. No Jaden Daniels in this game, and I just do not see a way that the Commanders come out on top with how this offense is playing for this Chiefs team. Do you see a way that this Commanders team wins or not? I am picking the Chiefs 38-20.
Love it. No, I don't really see a way out for the Washington Commanders. Their defense just gave up 37 points to Dallas. Jaden Daniels, like you mentioned, is out due to the hamstring injury. Mariota will get the start. He's looked a little dry this season, despite having a few spicy moments. Not to mention that Kansas City just has Patrick Mahomes and weapons back. I like Kansas City in this one, maybe not as much as you in the spread, but still spread is 12.5. So I still have in my prediction, which I don't like, I have Chiefs roll 29-19. I'll stick with that, but that means the Commanders cover. That doesn't sound good coming out of my mouth. I like Chiefs to cover, but I'm going to stick with it. Commanders cover, 29-19, Chiefs win.
All right. Okay. Last game of the week. If you look really quick on bye, we've got the Cardinals, Lions, Jaguars, Raiders, Rams, and Seahawks all on bye this week. Not a lot of teams on bye. That said, Sunday Night Football, Aaron Rodgers against his former team, the Green Bay Packers. This is unfortunately taking place in Pittsburgh.
You read my mind.
it would be 10 times cooler if he was returning to Lambeau.
Green Bay.
But that said, it is way cool that it's still a game that's being played. Before I give my thoughts, because I have a ton of them on this game, I want to hear your thoughts on what you think's about this one.
Yeah, I'll try not to steal any of your thunder, but I'll give you a few talking points in the term of statistics. Green Bay has put up 27 points on offense in 5 of their last 6 games. Steelers' defense is pretty mid. They're 19th in points per game, so you kind of match that up with each other, and that tells you a story. Josh Jacobs has had 2 touchdowns in 3 straight games. Steelers' offense, 25 points per game. That's tied for 11th. Rodgers, though, has 0 sacks in 3 of his last 4 games, so Steelers' offensive line really doing their thing. Green Bay leads the series all time 20-17. These two teams have faced off quite a bit, one of which was the 2011 Super Bowl XLV. My pick in this one is Packers 28 to Steelers 24. I did not put the spread down on this one for some reason. Not quite sure. I'll look at it, but that's my prediction.
Sweet. You look at that, and this is another one that you and I unfortunately disagree on.
Whoa!
I think that this Steelers team matches up really well. Their strengths match up really well against the Packers' weaknesses. The Packers have done really poorly against big outside wide receivers. George Pickens, Marvin Harrison Jr., their tight ends in like Sam Laporta, like all of the, or not Sam Laporta, the Arizona tight end, Trey McBride.
Yep, McBride.
All of the Steelers' offense comes to DK Metcalf and their tight end room it fills. And I think that's where this Packers defense is getting burned over and over. And on the other side, this Steelers defense is all or nothing all the time. They give up big plays, and they get big plays. They get turnovers, they get sacks, and they let you get explosive plays. Jordan Love has been very explosive, especially out of clean pockets. That said, I can see the Packers not getting a turnover on defense, and I can see the Packers giving a turnover away on offense against the Steelers team, and I think this Steelers offense is going to be just enough. In addition to that, the way that Aaron Rodgers played against his former team, the Jets, he had a vengeance about him. He had something to prove, to say, I am better than what you thought I was, and I can see that coming from Rodgers in this game as well. I, unfortunately, am going to pick the Steelers 28 I know, 28-26.
Love it. The spread is
kind of a wacky game.
3.5 for Green Bay is the spread. I agree. Wacky game. But it's okay. I get it. You're cautiously optimistic, or cautiously pessimistic, we should say, as a Packers fan. I'm the same way with my Colts. It's the reason that they're not atop my power rankings still. But for both of our sake, mine for the sake of getting the pick right, and yours for the sake of your team, I hope that we're saying go Pack go next week.
Absolutely. Anything else that you have that that we didn't get to cover here, Matthew?
You know what? I just want to say a few things. Bills 2-game losing streak, kind of crazy. Like I said, Atlanta, very confusing team. AFC North is a train wreck. I think that's going to continue here with a loss to Green Bay, with the Steelers loss to Green Bay, I should say. And go Colts.
Absolutely. Let's go Colts. Go Pack go. Matthew, thank you so much again for joining NFL Talking Points. I love having you on. And look at that. We kept it just over an hour.
Love it.
Talking Week 7, Power Rankings, and Week 8. We're really starting to get it on a roll here. So hopefully we can talk again next week. And anything you want to plug on your way out?
Yeah, you know what? Thanks for letting me do that. Make sure to tune in this week. I've like Joseph mentioned before, I've been gone for a little bit, but the Matthew Arscott Sports Show, wherever you get your podcasts, I'm going to be back with more than just NFL preview and recap. I'm going to be talking college football. I'm going to be talking baseball. I'm going to be talking NBA season starting, so make sure to jump over there. But for just talking points on the NFL, make sure to stay right here. Like and subscribe. Joseph's the guy.
Love it, Matthew. Check him out. Matthew Arscott Sports Show, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. Matthew, thank you so much. And everyone, thank you for joining NFL Talking Points. Enjoy Week 8. Go Pack Go. See ya.